Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rutan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. I am focusing in this episode, and I'll do it in a couple more throughout the year, my winery of the year for 2020, and that was Barnard Griffin. We talked a little bit about it in the last episode where I did some of their wines, and I really like the consistency, the quality, and the pricing on Barnard Griffin wines. Rob Griffin does an excellent job. I think I mentioned it before, he's not a huge marketer, so he doesn't spend a lot on advertising and all that stuff. I don't think he uses a lot of social media. So he's been around since 1983, his winery has. Now think about that, that's a long time, okay? And I think what happens with a winery like Barnard Griffin, where they don't do a lot of marketing, they don't use a lot of social media, they don't do a lot of those things, it can get lost in the shuffle. There's 1,000 wineries in the state of Washington. A lot of new ones have come on the scene. There's a lot of competition out there. And Robin just consistently puts out great wines, quality to price ratio. And that's really what I look at when I'm looking at my winery of the year. Yeah, there's a lot of great wines out there, but they cost a lot of money. So, is that where I want to go? No, that's not where I want to go. I want to go to the winery that really shows QPR, quality to price ratio. And Rob has always done that. Even his reserves, like I said in the past, a lot of reserve wines in other wineries can be really, really up there in pricing. And yet Rob is very reasonable. Yes, they're a little bit more than his signature wines, which we will review. But no, they're not expensive for a reserve line of wine. It's not because they're not good. It's just because Rob wants people to have his wines on their table. So we're going to get started right off the bat. We're going to get started with the Barnard Griffin. This is the Reserve Semillon 2019 Red Mountain Fruit, one of my favorite appellations in the state of Washington. Rolls in at $22. I do want to ask you guys a question. I'm thinking about investing in a new camera that has zoom capability so I can zoom in. It's going to be a little bit more money, but I want to know, do you guys think I should invest in that or should I hold off just a little bit and wait until I get more followers? I was shooting for 500 subscribers by the end of the year. Didn't quite hit it, but I did get quite a few more. Thank you very much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I hope I'm giving you good content, valuable content. That's what I want to do. So should I invest in a little bit upscale camera with a zooming capability? I used to have one that zoomed and it went south on me. The sound went south on me. I like this camera. I like the quality. I changed the lighting here. Chris, KC, thank you. He showed me how to do the lighting. I'll see how it works with my glasses. You guys can tell me how this new lighting setup I have is working out. Let's see what we get on the nose for the Semillon, 2019 Semillon. Now, Semillon used to be a big deal in Washington. You can hardly find it now. Really. A lot of producers used to do Semillon big time. You know where Semillon is really famous at. It's famous in Bordeaux. In fact, Chateau Yquem is Botry's Semillon. And, it's a great grape. It tends to give a little grassiness to a white Bordeaux, but it isn't always grassy. So I'm curious how this is going to turn out. Let's see what we get on the... Well, let's look at the color first. A little bit golden. Just a tint of gold. Pretty clear, though. Let's see what we get on the nose. Just really sweet, ripe pear and a little bit of apple. Yeah, I love the pear notes on this. Of course, I love pears. Do you like pears? I love them. I love pears. Yeah, just you get ripe pears with underlying apple notes. This is what we get on the palate. So the initial hit is like a Bartlett pear, but then it starts getting a little bit of that. There is a touch of grass, but it's more like fresh mowed grass underneath, and a little bit of minerality, which I like a lot. There's a little minerality on this, and then you get like an apple skin component on the finish. There's also a touch of fig on the mid palate, which really gives it nice complexity. So this is definitely a food wine. I've talked about that before. I believe that Rob is a firm believer in making wines to match with food. He doesn't make cocktail wines, as we call them, meaning wines that you just drink by themselves. Although you could drink this by itself. I would, certainly. Really nice complexity, really smooth, little minerality underneath. Get that apple skin component on the backside. Front is pear. I like this wine. I'd match this up easily with roasted chicken, halibut. I would do it even with maybe a noodle dish or a pasta with white cream sauce would be really good with this wine. It's an excellent wine. I'm going to go B+. Good job. Semillon, $22 for his reserve. You know, that's really a steal. Let's move on. This is the 2019 Barnard Griffin Roussan, and this is Columbia Valley, and it rolls in at $25. So Roussan is the main white grape of the Rhone Valley, Southern Rhone. And they match it up with Grenache Blanc, among other things. But Roussan, Grenache Blanc are the two, and Marsanne, excuse me, are the three main grapes of Southern Rhone in the white category. So Rob, we know he likes his Rhone varietals. He does a Côte de Robe. I think we reviewed the Côte de Robe in one of our last episodes. So this has got golden color to it, very golden. Hopefully you can see that. I'm hoping this lighting works out good. Casey couldn't figure out why he showed me the other way. That's all right. I'm glad he showed up to help me out. Get a little dusty component on the nose. There's more Asian pear on this one. Less Bartlett, more Asian. There's a little bit of a white flower element. Now, so I'm going to go Asian pear, white flower. There's a hint, just a hint, of baking spice. Let's see what we get on the palate. Really nice mouthfeel. I mean, it's very creamy, but it's got a nice dryness to it. So it's creamy but dry. I definitely get the Asian pear, a little bit of apple, like not Granny Smith, but Gravenstein maybe. Really clean finish. This is just a really clean wine. I mean, it's just fresh and it has good flavors and also a little minerality as well. And I do get the apple skin, just a slight hit of bitterness on the backside. Not in a bad way. It's not bitter, but just slightly, which again lends it towards food. This is not my favorite of the two. I like it. It's well made. It's fresh. It's clean. Again, roasted chicken. This could go with a lot of different things. I would have it with popcorn would be really good. Popcorn with blue cheese would be excellent. It's just really, really fresh. There isn't a lot of complexity on this wine. I like the creamy mouthfeel. I like the dryness on the finish. And it's very fresh. I like that. Just a real, I'm going to say basic, sort of one-dimensional, but not entirely. It's 25 bucks. If you want to try a Roussan, a little bit of pepper on the backside, which I like that. I think it's a fair play. It's a good Roussan. I'm going to go C+, B-. It's not terrible. There's no funkiness to it. I just think for 25 bucks, this is one of the few wines I've tasted from Rob that didn't excite me. Let's just put it that way. And I have to be fair, you know. This is, even though they're my winery of the year, not every wine that I've ever tasted from my Winery of the Year in the past years has been perfect, or up to snuff, or exceptional. But it's still, for 25 bucks, it's a good wine. But you know what? I know, my apologies to Rob, but this is not my favorite of the wines that he's ever made. It's okay. It's basic, C+, B- for a $25 wine. Let's move on. So this is the 2019 Columbia Valley Viognier from Barnard Griffin. It rolls in at 25 bucks, just like the Roussanne. I think that's something they like to blend Roussanne a lot with Marsanne. Marsanne gives it a little more steely component. Sometimes they'll even blend Viognier with that. This is also a wine of the Rhone Valley. In the Rhone, when they do a straight up Viognier, they call it Condrieu. Viognier is one of my favorite white varietals. I'm excited to try this. See the color on this? Again, very golden, but very clear as well. Clear with a gold hue. You like that? Clear with a gold hue. Let's see what we get on the nose. So this has a really cool nose. Typical Viognier is very tropical on the nose. I get papaya, mango, a little bit of apricot. Some peach coming through as well. I like that. That's very typical of Viognier. Let's see what we get on the palate. Some very, very good Viognier coming out of Washington State. It seems to be a grape that Washington is embracing. And I have several Washington Viognier on the shelf at the store I work at. So I'm excited to try this one. So you get that, this is really like a mashup of all those things I talked about. Apricot, peach, mango, papaya. I've been getting a hit of coconut meat on this. All kind of put together real nicely. And very compact. Like, you know, it's like they're all kind of bunched up together and none of those elements pop out. But they do on the mid palate. This second time I tried it, yeah, you know, a little mango pops out, a little peach, a little apricot, all pops out there. Very fresh and clean, like the Roussanne, but a little more complexity than the Roussanne. And certainly the Semillon is my favorite so far, but I do like this Viognier. Yeah, right on the mid palate, that apricot kind of mango comes through. Then it finishes nice and clean. This again would be great with roasted chicken, great with halibut, and I'd really like this with a bucket of clams. This would be perfect with clams, even oysters. I mean, there's good acidity, there's that fruit, but that, you know, that would blend nicely with the clams, I believe. I've recommended people to use Viognier with clams when they're, you know, pour a little in the pan when you're getting them ready, and then drink the Viognier with the clams. There's even a touch of a banana component coming through underneath, just slightly on the back side of the mid palate into the finish. Great wine. I'm going to go B plus on that. Solid Viognier. You know, I'm a big fan of Barnard Griffin wines. Like I said, I have to be honest with you guys. The Roussanne is a tough call for me because, you know, I was hoping for a little bit better, but that's okay. I guarantee you that 95% of Rob's wines are above that grade. There you go. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'd really like to hit 500 subscribers, but I am so happy with where I'm at right now. I mean, I remember one dude that I have followed for years. He said 1 is better than 0, and I'm a firm believer in that. So thanks for your support, and you keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.